chosen one. The exhaustion you are carrying is not evidence that you are weak or that you have failed. It may be a reminder that you have borne too much in silence and that the time has come for you to pause and receive support. I know how often you have wondered why you still feel heavy after a night of rest, why your steps seem slower than you desire, and why tasks that were once familiar now leave you depleted. You watch others move forward with ease and then blame yourself for not being strong enough, disciplined enough, or as passionate as you once were. But, beloved child, do not be so quick to condemn yourself. Some burdens cannot be seen by the eyes, yet they still exhaust the mind and weigh heavily upon the shoulders. You have carried too many worries, responsibilities, disappointments, and expectations from others for far too long. This weariness should not be dismissed, but neither is it a curse. It is inviting you to listen, care for yourself, and return to the peace you have repeatedly neglected while trying to be everything for everyone. I have seen the mornings when you awakened and wondered where you would find the strength to continue. You still smiled, still told others that you were fine, and still completed what needed to be done, while a part of you quietly longed to rest without having to explain yourself. You believed that if you slowed down, everything would collapse. If you admitted that you were tired, others would be disappointed. And if you refused a request, you would be considered selfish. Therefore, you continued giving even when your heart was empty, continued carrying what did not belong to you, and continued showing up when there was no space left within you to recover. I do not condemn you for those choices, because I know they came from love and a sense of responsibility. Yet love does not require you to exhaust yourself. Devotion does not mean ignoring legitimate limits. You were not created to become an endless source for others, while never allowing yourself to sit beside the waters of peace. Some people can rest briefly and then continue, but you carry unfinished conversations, words that wounded you, decisions for which you have found no solution, and worries about the future. Even when your eyes are closed, your mind continues running through countless possibilities, trying to anticipate danger, protect everyone, and prepare for things that have not happened. Therefore, outward rest does not always become genuine inner restoration. I want you to understand that you do not have to solve the entirety of tomorrow in a single night. You are not responsible for holding the whole world together. There are matters you must address with wisdom, but there are also things you must lay down because they lie beyond your control. When you learn to distinguish between the two, your strength will no longer be consumed by imaginary battles and responsibilities you assumed only because you feared disappointing others. My child, do not turn exhaustion into a medal proving your faithfulness, and do not romanticize depletion as though greater suffering makes you more valuable. I am not pleased when you neglect sleep, nourishment, movement, and necessary rest, and then call it sacrifice. Wisdom is also a sacred gift. When your body repeatedly sends unusual signals, listen to them seriously and gently. Allow yourself to sleep enough, eat regularly, reduce what is unnecessary, and seek appropriate support. If your exhaustion continues, becomes more severe, or is accompanied by symptoms that concern you, seeking professional help is not a lack of faith. It is a way of honoring the life you have been given. I may support you through prayer, through rest, through an understanding loved one, and also through proper care from people trained to help you. What I am teaching you in this season is not how to force yourself a little further, but how to recognize when it is time to stop. You have become so accustomed to pushing beyond your limits that you feel guilty when you sit still. Yet, sometimes, the deepest obedience is not found in a dramatic action, but in accepting rest when everything within you is asking to be restored. A bow that remains constantly drawn cannot retain its strength. A lamp that is not cared for will eventually run out of oil. No matter how brightly it once burned, you are no different. I do not want you merely to survive each day using the last of your strength. I want you to live with awareness, joy, and the ability to perceive the good things still present around you. Therefore, stop interpreting a slower pace as failure. There are seasons when you are called to advance, but there are also seasons when you need to sit down, breathe, and allow wounded places to heal in privacy. I know you carry dreams, responsibilities, and aspirations greater than others can recognize. Certain ideas return to you continually. Certain promptings remind you that you were not born merely to live a superficial life, and certain noble desires make you want to accomplish more. Yet a meaningful purpose does not require you to run faster than your ability to recover. If you attempt to move ahead through tension, even what you love may become a burden. I am teaching you to walk according to a sustainable rhythm, to know when to act, when to wait, and when to allow others to share the responsibility. You do not have to do everything alone to prove that you are worthy of your calling. A mature person is not someone who never needs help, but someone humble enough to recognize that receiving support is also part of the journey. These weary days are also revealing what truly matters. When your strength is limited, you cannot continue giving your time to every invitation, every argument, and every relationship that only takes from you. You are being compelled to choose what nourishes peace instead of what merely creates noise. You are beginning to recognize who approaches you with sincere love, who appears only when they need something, and what deserves the precious portion of life you have been given. Limitation is not always an enemy. Sometimes it is a boundary protecting you from scattering your strength in places that no longer fit. I am teaching you to say no without bitterness, to leave without retaliation, and to maintain distance without hatred. When you stop trying to please everyone, you will have more strength to care for what has truly been entrusted to you. Continue praying, but do not pray only for more strength to endure what needs to change. Ask for discernment to recognize which habits are wearing you down, which relationships need adjustment, and which responsibilities should be shared. Speak to me honestly, without searching for beautiful words. You may admit that you are tired, disappointed, confused, or that you no longer know what to ask for. I do not withdraw from you in those moments. I draw nearer when you stop hiding and allow yourself to be loved in your unfinished condition. If this message helps you recognize that you are not alone, continue remaining close to reminders that strengthen your faith. But also remember that peace does not come from hearing endless promises. It grows when you begin living according to what you have understood, laying down burdens that do not belong to you, and allowing yourself to recover one day at a time. Beloved child, you are not lazy merely because you need rest. You are not less valuable because you cannot accomplish as much today as you did yesterday. Neither have you been left behind, merely because your journey has slowed down. Perhaps this is not the season for you to run, but the season in which the deepest places within you must be restored before you enter a new stretch of the road. Be gentle with yourself. Sleep when you need to sleep. Seek support when you need support. Speak honestly when you are not well, and do not be ashamed of your limitations. I do not measure you by the number of tasks you complete, the number of people you satisfy, or the speed at which you advance. I look upon your sincerity, courage, and the way you continue choosing what is good, even when you are weary. You are not a prisoner being dragged toward tomorrow. You are being taught to enter the future with steadier steps, a lighter heart, and enough wisdom not to lose yourself, while fulfilling what has been placed within you. You no longer desire to explain yourself, defend every intention, or remain in conversations that only drain you, because I am leading you out of the emotional chaos you once regarded as normal. Perhaps recently, you have noticed yourself changing in a very unfamiliar way. Places that once excited you now leave you exhausted. Conversations that once held your attention for hours now feel empty. You no longer feel compelled to answer every judgment, correct every misunderstanding, or persuade others that your motives are pure. At times, this change causes you to worry and wonder whether something within you is becoming cold. But, beloved child, nothing is wrong with you. You have not lost your ability to connect. You are simply losing your tolerance for things that no longer align with the person I am shaping you to become. What you once accepted because you feared loneliness, misunderstanding, or abandonment no longer controls you as it once did. I am raising you into a more mature emotional posture. Where you once reacted immediately when a painful place was touched, you now know how to pause and observe what is truly happening. Where you once rushed to defend yourself, you are learning to distinguish sincere correction from deliberate provocation. Where you once spoke at length, hoping to be understood, you now observe whether the other person genuinely desires to understand or is merely seeking another reason to argue. This new calmness does not mean you have become weaker. On the contrary, it demonstrates that you are beginning to govern your own emotions. You no longer hand the steering wheel to anyone merely because they know how to press upon an old wound. You are learning that not every word deserves an answer. Not every accusation requires correction, and not every door that is knocked upon must be opened. There are times when silence is not avoidance, but your refusal to descend to a lower level and participate in another person's chaos. Wisdom is being placed within you gradually and so gently that you may not always recognize it. In the past, you might have carried an argument for days, repeating every statement in your mind and imagining what you should have said. Now you are beginning to lay down what is not your responsibility. You understand that others view you through the limitations, wounds, and experiences they carry. And therefore, their judgment is not always the truth about you. You do not need to spend your entire life correcting your image in every person's mind. What I want you to preserve is not a flawless reputation before the world, but an upright heart, a peaceful conscience, and the ability to continue walking without being pulled away from your path by outside noise. When you know you acted sincerely, you can remain at peace even if others choose to misunderstand you. You are also beginning to recognize that your energy is limited, valuable, and worthy of protection. This is not selfishness, but evidence that you understand your strength should not be distributed without discernment to every person, circumstance, and conversation. Some people come to you only when they need somewhere to release their anger. Some environments constantly demand that you give, but never provide space for you to recover. Some encounters seem ordinary, yet leave you needing several days to regain your peace. In the past, you may have ignored these signs because you wanted to prove that you were kind, approachable, and always willing to help. But I am teaching you that love does not mean allowing others unrestricted access across your boundaries. You can be compassionate and still say no. You can forgive without returning to a cycle that has repeatedly exhausted you. You can desire good things for someone while maintaining necessary distance. This season resembles a sacred period of separation, not because something is broken within you, but because I am protecting the renewal taking place inside you. A newly sprouted seed cannot be placed where it will continually be trampled. A healing wound should not be touched every day, merely to prove that it hurts less. You also need a space quiet enough for old things truly to lose their authority and for the new person within you to take firm root. I am separating you from certain voices, not so that you will live in isolation, but so that you may hear peaceful guidance more clearly. I am reducing unnecessary encounters so that you have time to recognize what is being formed. This separation may feel unfamiliar, but do not rush back to former places merely because they are familiar. Not everything familiar is safe, and not everything that causes temporary loneliness means you have taken the wrong path. During this period, one thoughtless reaction could draw you back into cycles from which it took you a long time to escape. Allow anger to lead only once, and you may speak words that do not reflect who you are now. Attempt to prove that you are right only once, and you may enter a confrontation that disturbs your mind for many days. Yet a calm response, a decision to wait, or well-timed silence can protect the entire road you are walking. I am not telling you to endure injustice silently or permit others to mistreat you. I am teaching you to choose the proper time, method, and degree to which you need to speak. Sometimes you must speak clearly and firmly. At other times, you need only leave. Sometimes the truth must be presented. At other times, the other person has already decided to receive nothing beyond their own point of view. Wisdom is knowing the difference. This is not the season for you to run around proving who you are. The more preoccupied you become with persuading others, the more easily you will be distracted from becoming the person I have called you to be. Allow consistency to speak instead of defensiveness. Allow the way you live, work, and treat others to become your answer. Those truly capable of seeing you will not require a performance. Those determined to misunderstand you will rarely change merely because you explain further. Therefore, use your strength to nourish what is growing within you, rather than spending it defending a version of yourself in someone else's mind. You cannot control the story they tell, but you can control the way you continue walking after hearing it. I know some people are beginning to feel uneasy around you, not because you have done anything wrong, but because you are no longer as predictable as before. In the past, they knew what to say to make you angry, how long to remain silent until you apologized first, or what memory to mention so that you would immediately question your worth. They became accustomed to a version of you who always explained, always yielded, and always returned, despite being wounded. But now, you no longer respond according to the old script. Your peace exposes the chaos they once concealed. Your silence leaves their provocations with nowhere to attach themselves. Your new boundaries render their former methods of control ineffective. This may cause them to call you cold, distant, or changed. But do not allow those labels to draw you back into the place from which I have led you. They may attempt to awaken the former version of you by mentioning past mistakes, reopening stories in which you no longer live, or touching painful places that once caused you to lose control. They do this because they hope you will react in the familiar way and restore the old order in which they knew how to control you. But, beloved child, do not resurrect what has already healed merely to make another person comfortable. Do not re-enter a room that has been locked simply because someone outside is calling the name of your former self. The past may explain part of your journey, but it does not possess the authority to define your destination. You have learned lessons you did not previously know, recognized patterns you once overlooked, and matured through very long nights. You are no longer someone who easily gives up peace merely to win a conversation. Therefore, I comfort you with this truth. This change is not evidence that you are losing yourself. It is evidence that you are returning to a more authentic version of who you are. You are becoming slower before reacting, more careful before offering trust, and clearer about what you allow. Continue protecting the strength I have given you, but do not allow protection to become a wall that prevents all love from entering. Healthy boundaries have doors. They are not sealed fortresses. Open your heart to people who respect your peace, know how to listen without manipulation, and are able to grow alongside you. At the same time, be courageous enough to leave places that love you only when you are easy to control. You do not need to become your former self again in order to be accepted. I am protecting the person you are becoming, and your part is not to surrender this new version of yourself back into hands that never knew how to value it. Beloved child, the profound exhaustion you are experiencing is not proof that you are weak, but neither is it something you should dismiss or endure silently by yourself. I know there are days when you awaken after what seemed like sufficient sleep, yet your shoulders remain heavy, your mind still feels clouded, and every step demands more strength than usual. You look at the schedule before you and wonder why tasks that were once simple now drain you so quickly. At times you blame yourself for lacking discipline, enthusiasm, or the strength you once possessed. But I want you to stop condemning yourself. This exhaustion may be telling you that you have carried too much for too long, that you have become accustomed to caring for everyone while neglecting your own needs, and that the time has come for you to receive support instead of continuing to pretend that you are fine. Some burdens remain invisible while still exerting real pressure upon your life. They may include worry about the future, responsibility for your family, words you have been unable to speak, a loss you have not had time to face, or the feeling that you must always remain prepared for the next unexpected event. You are not only tired because of what you are doing today. Sometimes your strength is being consumed because you are continually living ahead of yourself in days that have not yet arrived. Your mind repeatedly rehearses possible situations, anticipates risks, and prepares for battles that may never occur. When you remain standing guard before the future, in this way, the present can no longer become a place of rest. Even while you are sitting still, a part of you continues running, calculating, protecting, and attempting to control everything. I understand why a night of sleep does not always return you to a peaceful condition. Your body may lie down while your thoughts refuse to release their burdens. Your eyes may close while your emotions continue organizing unresolved matters. Therefore, What you need is not merely a few additional hours of rest, but permission to stop completely. You need to stop feeling guilty, because you cannot fulfill every expectation. You need to recognize that rest is not a reward reserved only for someone who has completed everything. It is a legitimate need of someone who has endured for far too long. I do not love you more when you work until you are empty, nor do I consider you less valuable because you need to move slowly today. However, remember this reminder with wisdom. Prolonged fatigue may also arise from physical or mental health conditions that should be evaluated by a qualified professional. Do not allow your search for spiritual meaning to cause you to overlook the signals your body is sending. I do not ask you to choose between faith and medical care. Discernment knows how to receive prayer, rest, proper nutrition, and professional assistance when needed. If you remain continually exhausted, experience difficulty breathing, dizziness, insomnia, persistent pain, or an inability to function normally, seek a trustworthy physician. Seeking help does not deny the strength within you. On the contrary, it is an act of honoring the life you have been given. I also know that you often sense the atmosphere around you very quickly. You enter a room and recognize tension before anyone has spoken. You sit beside someone who is grieving and leave the conversation feeling as though their sorrow belongs to you. Your sensitivity allows you to love deeply, observe carefully, and recognize what others conceal. But without boundaries, this gift can become a vessel that is continually filled and never given time to empty. You were not born to absorb every emotion around you. You can empathize without carrying another person's burden. Listen without allowing someone else's sorrow to take up permanent residence within you, and love without assuming responsibility for rescuing everyone. Therefore, after encounters that leave you exhausted, give yourself a period of quiet. Breathe slowly, take a walk, drink water, reduce the noise, and name the emotions that are present. Ask yourself what truly belongs to you and what you may have unintentionally carried home from someone else. I want you to learn how to return what is not your responsibility. Not every crisis you witness is a summons for you to enter. Not every suffering person needs you to become the only one responsible for lifting them. Sometimes love is expressed through presence. At other times, love requires healthy distance, so that both people may grow. Stressful dreams may also cause you to awaken feeling as though you have completed a long journey. When the pressures of the day remain unresolved, the mind often continues processing them during sleep. Do not immediately conclude that every dream is a prediction or an invisible battle you are required to carry. Receive such dreams with calmness and discernment. You may write down what you remember. Observe recurring emotions, and consider whether they reflect fear, exhaustion, or an unresolved matter in your life. What comes from clarity will not drown you in panic. I guide you through peace, not through obsession, that deprives you of the ability to live fully in the present. You may also notice that it has become increasingly difficult to remain for long periods in crowded, noisy, or conflict-filled places. This does not necessarily mean you are becoming distant. Sometimes your nervous system is simply asking for reduced stimulation. After a long period of remaining constantly alert, respect that limit rather than forcing yourself to endure merely to satisfy others. You are permitted to leave a gathering early, refuse an unhealthy conversation, or spend a day without receiving excessive information. Everything you watch, hear, and allow into your mind has an effect. If a program, image, or story leaves you tense for an extended period, you do not need to prove your strength by continuing to expose yourself to it. Your peace deserves protection. I also want to renew the way you see yourself. You are not a container created to be filled with the pain of the world. You are a precious person, capable of giving love, but also needing to receive love. A useful vessel is not preserved by continually pouring more into it. It is washed, set down, and allowed to rest between periods of service. You are the same. If you only give and never receive, listen while never being heard, and remain strong, while never allowing yourself to be vulnerable, exhaustion will gradually become the voice of needs you have neglected. Give trustworthy people the opportunity to care for you. Speak honestly when you need help. Do not wait until you are completely empty before admitting that you have gone beyond your limits. Something beautiful is being formed within you. But I do not want you to call every pain the necessary price of your mission. A noble purpose does not require you to destroy yourself. Sacred responsibility is not measured by the degree of your exhaustion. What is maturing within you needs time, patience, and a sustainable rhythm of life. Just as a garden cannot bloom through heavy rain alone, you also need light, breathing room, nourishment, and seasons of rest. Do not turn endurance into your identity. You have been courageous for long enough to learn another kind of courage now. The courage to stop, the courage to receive support, and the courage to trust that life can continue, even when you are not attempting to control everything. Beloved child, I do not condemn you for being tired. I am gently leading you back toward balance. Listen to your body, care for your emotions, preserve necessary boundaries, and seek appropriate help when symptoms continue. Allow your sensitivity to become a source of compassion rather than a doorway through which every heaviness enters. You are not broken, but neither do you need to pretend that you have no limits. You are learning how to carry what is meaningful without losing the life present within this moment. From today onward, stop regarding rest as delay. Sometimes, it is precisely when you lay yourself down in peace that I am restoring the deepest part of you, so that you may continue your journey with clearer eyes, a lighter heart, and a strength no longer built through strain, but through wise, gentle, and sustainable care.